Welcome to On the Pen. I am man on the Mounjaro, Dave Knapp. That's why I'm here. You're on the pen. That's why you're here. And today we're going to talk about compounded medications. We're going to get into a statement from the Obesity Medicine Association because they came out with a statement about what they believe are some holes maybe in compounded medications, and just to give folks some warning on how to proceed. And I think that it's very timely information, and I think it's worthy of covering kind of what they had to say about compounded medications. So we'll get right into it. But before we do, could you hit that like, hit that bell, and hit that sub so that this information gets shared far and wide? I'm so thankful for each and every one of you who are part of the community here, who are helping us grow and getting out great information as we fight to advocate to get these medicines in the hands of everybody who needs them. So Obesity Medicine Association, they have a position statement about compounded peptides. So you've heard of it referred to as generic Mounjaro, generic Ozempic. Is it really? Well, kind of, but kind of not. So the Obesity Medicine Association recommends that anti-obesity medications, all of them, undergo clinical trial testing for efficacy and safety via processes overseen by the FDA. So they're just coming out and saying that's what they advocate for. And certainly semaglutide and tirzepatide are anti-obesity medications that have undergone clinical trial testing for efficacy and safety. But these compound medicines, if you want to learn more about the nitty-gritty about what they are, please go back and check out some of my other videos about compounded medications. But basically, it takes the active ingredient and just, packages it a little bit differently and sells it through compound pharmacies, or, as you'll see a little bit later on in this video, companies that are just marketing the peptides as research peptides that you can buy right online without a prescription. So I think that's more what they're referring to here is compound pharmacies are generally seen as safe because you're going to your doctor, you're working with your doctor to get a prescription, to take that prescription to the compound pharmacy and get your compounded version of semaglutide or tirzepatide. But some of these online places are quite a bit more shady, and we'll get into that in a little bit. They're advocating for these clinical trial tests because a lot of these compounded peptides that you'll find have not undergone the same safety, efficacy, and purity checks and balances that the FDA approved versions like the ones from Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk have. So a good thing to advocate for sure. They also go on to say if compound peptides are prescribed, they should be legally produced by source companies whose identities are readily disclosed and who have documented manufacturing processes compliant with oversight by the applicable regulatory agencies. So if you go back and watch my last video, I'll link it in the description of this video, but my last video on compound peptides highlighted this very thing. What is the source of the peptides? And I want to talk to you just for a couple minutes today about just some examples of the shadier ways to get peptides online and why they have highlighted this and why I'm glad that they did, because this is super important for people to understand. So I'm going to just pull up a couple examples. Chances are, if you've spent any time on Facebook or Instagram, you have seen an advertisement for this, the SAF research peptides. Possibly Wicked Labs is another one that I get drilled with ads from both of these companies advertising really cheap tirzepatide, or in this case, tirzepatide. They don't even have it spelled correctly on the bottle. They have it spelled correctly in the description down below there, but even on the bottle it says tirzepatide instead of tirzepatide. So anyway, so SAF Research and Wicked Labs. You've probably seen those, right? Okay, so let's get into that a little bit. I want to show you. I'm going to pull up the I can get my mouse to cooperate. I'm going to pull up the website from Wicked Labs, and we're going to just go through the website a little bit so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about in real time, because these peptides are sold without a prescription, and they are sold as research chemicals, not for human consumption. Let me say that again. They're sold as research chemicals, not for human consumption. So you can see on the website here, again, you've got Tirzepatide instead of Tirzepatide, spelled correctly over here, but not on the bottle. Don't really know what that's about, but to me, that's a big indicator of legitimacy right off the bat. It goes through and it says, here's exactly what the compound is made of, and uh, that is Tirzepatide. But here's where you get this disclaimer that this material is sold for laboratory research or use only. Terms of sale apply, not for human consumption, nor medical, veterinary, or household uses. Please click research below and you find it out. But basically, people are going on these websites and buying these and then injecting them into their body. These are in no way tested for safety or efficacy. They're just not, because they're not marketed for human consumption. SAF research, same deal. I've got semaglutide here. I click on the semaglutide. I scroll down. Look, buy one, get two free promo, always with the promo codes. They're selling them very cheap. But again, laboratory research use only. This product should only be handled by qualified and licensed professionals. May not be used as a drug. I mean, it goes on. And it goes on to say bodily introduction of any kind into humans and animals is strictly forbidden by law. Now, that's great, right? It's great that they have basically marketed that on their website and said very clearly this isn't for human consumption. Where I have a major issue with these companies like SAF Research and Wicked Labs is that if you go to their Facebook pages, if you go to their ads that they're running on Facebook and on Instagram, they're very much marketing it to people for human consumption. They very much are. The comments, all you have to do is read the comments, and it's all people exchanging information about how to mix things properly. Guys, this is very dangerous. This is a very dangerous way to buy compounded peptides. Very dangerous way, because here you're having to mix them with bariostatic water. You're having to mix these very thoroughly. That's stuff that should be done by a licensed professional, not somebody who's just trying to lose 10 pounds on the internet. This is very dangerous. Stay away from these. That is my best advice. Stay away from these. We don't know where these peptides are coming from. We don't know what the purity is. And they're not marketed for human or even animal consumption. It's against the law. So, with that being said, I believe that is where the statement from the Obesity Medicine Association is coming from when it says that they need to go under regulatory testing. They need to be subject to the FDA rules that govern things that go in people's bodies, right? And these aren't. These are not. And the next thing I want to say is don't get this confused with compound Tirzepatide and compound semaglutide that are sold with a prescription and filled at a compound pharmacy. This is very different. So this is South Lake Pharmacy in Florida. This is where a lot of people's prescriptions are being filled for compound Tirzepatide. Now, their source for their compounded medications are likely to be some of the sources that I outlined on that previous video about compounded Tirzepatide, where those those peptides that they use to mix for their compounded medication are subject to current good manufacturing process requirements. So they have FDA oversight. There's strict guidelines about how they can produce these things and the purity and the testing and everything. So it's not the same as what I showed you before. This is the type of compound medication that you're going to go to your doctor for. You're going to discuss it with your doctor. Your doctor is then going to write a prescription to be filled at a compound pharmacy. That compound pharmacy will then fill your semaglutide, fill your Tirzepatide, and you can feel as safe as you possibly can be that your doctor has sourced the right information, that pharmacy is definitely subject to oversight by the state that they operate in. And if you go back, I did a live a couple of weeks ago where I shared some pictures of a sterile compound pharmacy where these compounds are made. It's like Area 51. I mean, very clean, very sterile, and subject to oversight on how cleanly their facilities are, and the accuracy of the mixes that they're making and putting out. They've been around forever. Compound pharmacy has been around forever, right? And they have a very good track record, at least as good as big pharma from a safety and efficacy standpoint. There's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be news. There's always going to be a story you can point to, but there is with big pharma. There is with the FDA too. So, talk to your doctor. Just talk to your doctor, folks. It's not that hard. Talk to somebody who's an expert. You're an expert in you, right? You know your body, and your doctor knows medicine. The two of you should be making decisions together without outside influence from anybody, anywhere. So yeah, they're just basically advocating for oversight on this. And so they go on to say that compounding pharmacies are regulated by state boards of pharmacy and expected to comply with that current good manufacturing practice requirement, right? So compound pharmacies are regulated by their states, as I said, different than those research labs that are selling these peptides without the need for a prescription, because again, they're not selling them for human consumption. We have to be very careful, people. Don't just go clicking ads on Facebook. Don't just go trying to buy something off of a Facebook group, because as we know, those are full of scammers too. We've documented those on some of the live streams. One of the more recent ones is this one from Facebook, Mounjaro for type 2 along with weight loss. This is 100% exclusively a scammer group. The whole group is a gigantic scam. And they're out there and they're not being shut down. They've been reported. They're not being shut down. So we have to be very careful. Talk to your doctor, folks. This is not stuff that we just start messing around with and playing with when we're injecting stuff into our bodies. The USP goes on to say the USP issues process standards applicable to compounding, while the FDA has oversight for the safety and integrity of the source drugs prepared by compound pharmacies. So this is what we've said before, again, on the last slide, or on the last compound medication video that I did. The FDA has oversight of where these compounded medications are being sourced by these compound pharmacies. That's a good thing. That is a great thing. Before prescribing compound medications, clinicians should secure evidence to support that the source of the medication and the pharmacist compounding the medication adhere to FDA standards. This is great advice. This is great advice. Hopefully your doctor is doing all those things. If they're doing their due diligence, they are. And that's why the Obesity Medicine Association is just advocating for this when it comes to compounded medications. So we have covered quite a bit on this stream today. We've covered the compounds to avoid, the SAF researchers of the world, the wicked labs who are marketing Tirzepatide and Semaglutide, but again, not for human consumption. Don't go buying from these websites. Don't go injecting this stuff into your body. First of all, it's against the law. So, if that's not a big enough deterrent, there is no oversight. This stuff is not tested for human consumption. So you don't know what you're putting into your body or how your body's going to respond to it. But we also talked about how that's not the same as compound pharmacies, not the same as compound prescriptions written by your doctor and filled by a compound pharmacies, which do have oversight. And you want to make sure that you and your doctor are doing your due diligence to make sure that you're getting it from a reputable source. And this South Lake Pharmacy is filling thousands and thousands of these prescriptions. So talk to your doctor. Another question that people have on this stream that comes up quite a bit as it relates to the patents. Like, so how are these compound pharmacies able to get these peptides? Well, I work off of a theory that was helped to be formed by Michelle H., who is a mod on this channel, a huge benefit and resource to this channel and to the GLP-1 community in general. But she used to work for a law firm that dealt with patents and patent attorneys. And so as we've kind of talked through this, I think we're both pretty much on the same page about where the patents are held. So Tirzepatide, Semaglutide, these are peptides. These aren't something that can be patented any more than a vitamin can, like a B vitamin, right? They're peptides. They're naturally occurring. So what is able to be patented is the delivery mechanism. So you've got these nifty pens, right? So this pen that Eli Lilly makes for Mounjaro and Trulicity, that pen is patented. The delivery source, how they deliver it, is patented. But also the half-life of peptides is very short, right? It's hours usually for a peptide. So they find a way to extend that half-life so you only have to take it once a week, right? So in the case of tirzepatide, there is a lipidization process that happens to the tirzepatide, which is patented by Eli Lilly, which allows you to only have to take the medication once a week because the half-life has been extended out because of the lipidization process to 5 days. So the half-life of Mounjaro, the tirzepatide and Mounjaro, is 5 days. That lipidization process has not happened to any of the compounded versions of tirzepatide. So theoretically, hypothetically, this is just guy on YouTube's theory, the half-life of the compounded medication is going to be much shorter than is the brand name version of Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. So you're going to want to talk to your doctor about that because you might not want to start on a higher dose. You might want to start on a lower dose, but take that dose more frequently. Because again, the reason you only have to take Wegovy once a week, the reason you only have to take Mounjaro once a week is because there is a whole manufacturing process of the peptide that is the active ingredient in the medication that allows your body to absorb it over a week's time and not just instantly, which is going to be the case for most peptides. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it brought some more clarity around this on this topic of compound medications, especially as you all try to plan for June when those of you without health insurance coverage for Mounjaro have coupons expiring. Compound medications are great to take a look at, but do it with your doctor for the love of Pete, folks. Talk to your doctor about it. Source a good compounding pharmacy like Southlake, who is providing compounded medications to people all over the country. You can get them by mail, or have your doctor. There's a lot of sterile compound pharmacies in areas that you may live. So your doctor should know who those are. And again, follow this guideline from the Obesity Medicine Association that says, make sure your doctors are looking as to what the source of the peptides that are being used in the compound medications are, and that they're following FDA standards as well as the pharmacy that's mixing them. Make sure they have licensed people doing that. We should not be buying medications like this and medications like Tirzepatide from Wicked Labs or SAF Research, and I'm sure there's a whole handful of others, but we're not qualified to mix that stuff. And we're not qualified to mix it. B, they are not for human consumption. It's against the law and potentially very, very, very dangerous for you. So do this the right way, folks. In our angst, in our haste to find a solution when we get kicked off the moon, or we can't afford Wegovy or Ozempic or Mounjaro, please do not be hasty. Do not take shortcuts. Talk to your doctor. Talk to these compound pharmacies. Find out where they're sourcing their stuff and just do it the right way. I hope this is helpful for you. Hit that like, hit that bell, hit that sub, and we'll see you on the next stream. Thanks.